So we're back in the kitchen today. We're going to be doing some salmon croquette today. Um, so I already got the salmon in the bowl with 1 can of tuna. I have chopped white onion. I have bell pepper, a 1/4 cup of spelt and red quinoa, um, and a small can of chopped olives. And we're going to go ahead and add the wet ingredients, which is going to be a dab, just a dab of oyster sauce, fish sauce. So we're just going to add a dab of that. Not much, about a 1/2 teaspoon. And then we're going to add about a 1/2 teaspoon of Chinese mustard. I'm gonna do a little bit more Chinese mustard, but I'm gonna go ahead and do a whole teaspoon of Chinese mustard. And we're gonna add 2 eggs to this. I'm gonna add 2 eggs. Go ahead and crack over 2 eggs. Put it in here. We got some seasoned cornmeal that we're going to also add to. That's going to be at the end right now after we mix all this together. We're going to add the cornmeal into it. So we're going to mix this well. This is the tuna, the 1 can of tuna, the can of salmon, the 1/2 onion, 1 small can of chopped olives, 1/2 bell pepper, a 1/4 cup of quinoa and spelt, 2 eggs, a teaspoon of fish sauce, oyster sauce, a teaspoon of Chinese mustard. We'll go ahead and mix that. We're gonna mix that a little bit more as we add some more. Want to add a little bit more seasoning to this. Want to add some seasoning salt, just a little bit. Even though we got some seasoned cornmeal, we'll go ahead and add some seasoned salt. We're going to use Morton's as usual. So that's why you don't see anything here, because, you know, different brands and different things like that, we're not going to be doing anything like that. So you just have the basic ingredients and idea of, and about the measurements and of what needs to be done to go in there. So that's good. We're going to add, since we added a little seasoning, we're going to add about another 1/2 teaspoon of oyster sauce. So that'll put us at a full teaspoon of oyster sauce. I'm gonna go ahead and stir this up. And then we're gonna slowly add in the cornmeal. The grease is already just about hot on the stove. So we're gonna go ahead and add in the cornmeal. I'm gonna add about a little bit over 1/2 cup cornmeal, because I have a lot of other ingredients in here. So it's not too much to overpower with the salmon or the tuna, but it's enough to blend in with it very well. So we're gonna go ahead and give this a stir. And I guess we're just gonna have this for, as we say, breakfast. So make sure this gets in here stirred in real well. So we're gonna have pancakes with this, with the salmon croquette. I'm not gonna make homemade pancakes today. We're just going to use regular store-bought frozen pancakes. Not being cheap or anything, or not trying to, you know, dirty up too much and do all that kind of stuff and have all the excess cleanup. So you know how it goes around here. You know how it is. So this is looking pretty good. I need a little bit more cornmeal, just a little bit. And give it a little bit extra cornmeal. Make sure that it holds and sticks together pretty well. So this is going to be about a third of a cup of cornmeal. About a third of a cup of cornmeal. You want to go ahead and stir this up. Because we don't want it too wet. We kind of want it to kind of band together and stick together. So it wasn't loose just then, but it could stand a little bit more sticking together. So I'll just give it a little bit more thickness to it. So hopefully, you know, they won't fall apart in cooking. And these, since we're only using like a can of salmon and a can of tuna, these aren't going to be real huge, big salmon croquettes when we put them in there. They're going to be nice size, but they're not going to be huge by no means. So this is what we got. We're going to go ahead and we got the oil over here already hot and ready. We're going to go ahead and see if we can't go ahead and stick this in there. We're gonna go ahead and see if we can stick it in there, like so. Now see, most people, when they do this, they make a patty or whatever the case may be. So we're gonna try to do that too here. We're gonna go ahead and just put it in the hand. We're gonna make it about a good hand size, nothing more than that. We're gonna just form a patty in the hand, make sure that it holds together and it sticks together. Kind of like so. That looks like it's holding together pretty well. It's not falling apart or anything. So I'm gonna go ahead and dump that in. Grease is nice and hot. Now for some people, they would mash theirs down once they get it in there to kind of like flatten it out a little bit so it won't be so thick and so hard to cook, and so it won't take so long to cook all the way through. And since we're not making these to be like huge, you know what I mean, these are just regular nice size patties. Make sure they don't fall apart, you know, so it's not falling apart. Looks pretty good. Dump that in there. And since, like I said, this is only 1 can of tuna, 1 can of salmon, and so I don't know how many this is actually going to yield, but we're going to see in just a minute. But with all those other ingredients, it seems like I stretched it out pretty good. And so therefore, I'm on my 3rd patty right now. As you can see, I'm on the 3rd patty. Looks pretty good. Not falling apart, anything like that. Looks good. Put it in there. This grease is on 5.5. I don't know what you're gonna put yours on, but mine is cooking frying on 5.5. I think that's probably good enough. You don't want to be too high. 6 would be a little bit too high for some cases, especially this one, since you know they don't take that much grease when you do it like this, because they're not huge or nothing like that. They're just hand-sized patties, and they're going to shrink in there. But you see, but it's not falling apart or anything like that. That's what you want. So we got 4 in there. And as always in all these videos, we'll come back in a minute and get finished with the rest and show you what's going on.